Welcome to the podcast Journey to the Well. I'm here to take you on a journey to learn how to become wealthy in all 8 dimensions of life. With each episode, our knowledge will unfold and faith as our anchor. So come tune in and hear the stories untold.
Good afternoon, y'all. Wow, what? First of all, I just want to apologize for not posting the last couple weeks. I don't know if it's because of laziness. I can make any excuse in the book. Not feeling like I wanted to do it. Yeah. Anyway, I apologize for the inconsistency. Sometimes I just get in my head also, so I'm just kind of battling with that because this is all new. So welcome back. With that said of being like in your head, I kind of just actually wanted to touch on intellectual wellness and how it's measurable and how intellectual is. You don't have to be the smartest, but it's about how you learn, right? And to be intellectually well, I feel like I have to be present into what I'm learning about. And also, personally, intellectual wellness requires action for me. And, okay, so, because right now, or like in my past and like just me, like intellectual wellness does not come naturally. I literally have to become a life learner of whatever I'm trying to learn because one, my information that I'm like receiving does not retain very easily. So that's just one area that I have to like overcome naturally. And so I don't know who else could relate to this, but I also love going 1,000 miles per hour, and obviously not physically in a car or like physically, but like me just doing a bunch of things at once and like just go, just in life and doing activities and anything new that comes along, any new shiny opportunity that I want to invest in or learn about that comes to me that I would find interest in, right? You have to find interest in it. I would just go 1,000 miles per hour and then like either stop learning or just keep going. And I also have the fear of FOMO, which is fear of missing out. And so that can go against my intellectual wellness. You want to say hi? Okay, for all of you guys that are watching the video, this is my dog Rainier. If you can't see the video right now, you probably should go on YouTube and look up the video because it is so cute how he wants to be a part of this podcast right now. Like, you want to sit on me? You want to sit on my lap? Okay, you can do that. Anyway, so yeah, okay, so let's just take an example. For example, a lot of us want to lose weight or want to go on want to have that dream job or dream vacation and start a new sport or start learning how to cook or garden or play pickleball. For the guys out there and some girls, like playing a new video game and learning about all that or gaming or like fishing or hunting and whatever it is, it requires learning. And if you aren't going to be in the space to learn about it, then how are you going to attain the knowledge? If you don't love weights and you're going to go try and watch all these TikTok videos and like you get obsessed with how this person looks while they're doing the weightlifting and their videos and their TikTok guru or whatever, but you personally like hate weights. So if you're looking at the result that they have because they found their love and their passion, which is weightlifting, and you go try doing weightlifting and be like, oh, this is not for me, like I can never get that fit. No, it's just because you are intellectually unaware that may not be your passion, and you have to go find a different vehicle that gives you the same results. You can take a car and go from Texas to Washington. You can take a plane and go to Texas from Washington. They might be different time frames of how you're going to get there and the way that you're going to get there, but it doesn't mean that it's not possible to do it by a different way and get the same result. I don't know. So maybe like finding your vehicle and the path that will better suit your life is finding your identity, Like, be creative, become knowledgeable for yourself. I just went to a Tony Robbins event, and it was so amazing. If you've never been to one of his events, maybe start off by the Netflix TV show, I'm Not Your Guru. He's amazing. Like, he's just amazing what he does. But I went to his event, and he said, where focus goes, energy flows. And I love that because, like, I'm going to take fitness, for example. I love fitness. And I'm just going to use that as an example. So fitness has many options, right? First of all, first and foremost, it all starts with what you're putting into your body, right? I mean, I can go to the gym every single day and eat cake and pizza and top ramen and junk food and candy and pop and soda or whatever and beer and drench myself and drown myself in this unhealthy habit. But me going to the gym is just going to count, like, it's not going to do anything, right? It'll just maybe keep me at a same weight, depending on how hard I'm working out to, like, lose all that crap that I'm putting in my body. But anyway, so what you're putting into your body is very important. It's 80% kitchen and 20% gym, like they say. I don't know if those numbers are very accurate, but it seems very accurate to me, and I've always followed by that. 80% kitchen, 20% gym or activity. Which could be a sport or rollerblading or hiking or biking, rock climbing, running, yoga, Pilates, home workouts because you're afraid of judgment of the gym or any other activity. There's just so much to fitness, right? So I think just finding out what you love to do, like I started really liking the gym but it was overwhelming for me and I didn't know where to start or what to do. And so I took it upon myself to actually get a gym trainer who is very knowledgeable into what he does, and because he has the intellectual part that I didn't. And so me investing in myself and the learning, I learned so much through him. Now that I can, like, go out and not be afraid when I go to the gym, I have a routine, and I've created this platform for myself to follow by and with my fitness. And I became more knowledgeable also with my eating and my calories and my macros, and I just continued to learn, and I'm still learning about everything. Like, there's things that I, like, forget of, like, the little, like, tricks, like, oh, if you're doing biceps, like, keep your elbow out past your hip, and then, like, don't put that back towards your hip because then you're not focusing on your bicep. There's more to focus on that muscle. Just, like, little things like that. And I just really found what I love. So find your identity, and that's a huge part of intellectual, because without your identity, you're just going off of somebody else and somebody else's passion and desires. And let me tell you, it's probably not going to last that long for and you're going off of somebody else's, like, aspirations and love for what they are doing. And usually when you don't love it as much as that other person, you're going to quit or fail or, like, give up on yourself because it wasn't your identity. You're going off of somebody else's identity. It's super interesting how people study or how people learn. And me, it takes me like 20 times to put one sentence in my memory, or it has to, like, really hit me to remember anything. So finding your flow and being creative in your space, your workspace. Like, are you a morning person or a night owl? Like, I'm typically a night owl. Like, I love staying up late at night. However, I get distracted with, like, invites. And so I try to be a morning person and, like, try to get up and, like, you know, be Proverbs 31. And so figure out the environment that you thrive in and continue to be a live learner, because that's a good one to talk about too. I know that I'm single, right? And I live alone. However, I was thinking that some of us, most all of you that are listening, probably live with a spouse or kids or roommate, and you're trying to take action with your routine and your environment to really help you and hone into yourself, into a state of learning. And I would just say be cautious of the people around you. and communicate what you need and what they need for their learning time, that grind time. A lot of us have, like, so if a spouse is a night owl and you're a morning routine person, then you need to communicate that. And like, the night owl can't be making a bunch of noise or listening or playing their guitar, like, or whatever it might be that's like super loud. Also with a morning person, you can't just like get up and blast music because that night owl had his learning time or their learning time at night and yours is in the morning. You need to be aware of that, right? Don't push your learning aside because they aren't a morning person and you don't want to wake up with them or whatever it might be. No. You roomed with them, you married them, or you whatever you have with them. I hope letting them know your ambition, and they already know the deal. Just be mindful because your spouse or roomie or whoever it might be would stay up late, and just have that communication. That's also part of intellectual is to communicate very well. And if you need to study in the morning because you rather study in the morning than night, like, just communicate that and be like, hey, I'm waking up early, my alarm's going to go off, I'm going to turn it off as fast as I can and get out of bed as fast as I can, and when I don't wake you up. Or for a roomie, like, hey, just let you know I'm getting up at 5 today. I know my typical time is 8, but I really want to try this new learning thing right before my day starts and try to get some, like, a new book, 10 pages of a new book or an hour of a new study that I'm learning, whatever it is, whatever intellectual, an hour of sewing, an hour of playing guitar, an hour of your video games in the morning, or whatever that time frame is. Just communicate, okay? And I live alone, so I could do whatever I want, I feel like, and it's going to be I'm going to have to, like, learn how to communicate that when I get a spouse, but until then, I can do whatever I want. But I was just thinking about all y'all that don't live alone, and I felt like I should probably bring that up for you. And I know common sense isn't very common, so just having that conversation and opening that up is just great. Communication is intellectual. So there we go. We talked about it. Having awareness of what you want to learn about is going to change, right? We stumble upon things that interest us, whether it's going through social media, music, podcast, book, a seminar. We always have things coming up in our lives, right? So I think it's okay to say, once you start learning something, and if something new comes along that sparks your interest more from your last hobby and what you're learning, I see no problem in jumping onto that, because you can quit the learning process on something. That doesn't mean, okay, maybe, yeah, sure, you're a quitter. But, like, if that's something that comes along and gives you a bigger spark and you move forward with it, and your learning interest grows upon it, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And the reason why I actually have this opinion is because there's been things that I would start in my life. Like, for example, my eye catches something else that maybe furthered me. Or, for example, going to college to be a neonatal nurse and realizing that would probably just make me cry every single day, and I would have to pray over the babies, or I wouldn't get any work done because I would just be so sad and, like, praying, or just not sad and just be glorifying God's work and, like, through these nurses and praying over them. And I don't know, maybe just some people go to school for one thing and switch it up during their semesters or throughout their career and switch their degree, and don't even use the degree for whatever reason that is. Like, they found a new interest or they found out that interest doesn't actually resonate with them, or, like, have any desires anymore, or their calling was different. I'm here to tell you that's okay. Okay? That's okay. It's okay to want to learn something else or move forward. Like, do not let family and friends be like, oh, you quit at that, or you just wasted so much money in your college degree and like all you're not using it and all this stuff. Like blah 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 blah. No, it's okay. Like, if anything, you just learned so much about yourself and so much about that topic. Like, that was a process of learning. Like, you can't just like take that away and say like that was a waste of money. Like, you got to learn so much about yourself and probably other people and your path that you want to take. And now, or if you don't know what to take and you're in this limbo of like, I don't know where to go from here. I know I don't want to go there, but I don't know what's over here. Keep adventuring. Like, you're going to find your soul purpose. Whatever you love to do, find your soul purpose. Sit down with yourself. Be intellectual about your time and like write out, maybe every day, write out 5 new things that you're excited about or want to learn about. Just take those 5 things and maybe in the next week that goes by, like review that list and be like, okay, am I still interested in this? Like, which ones are still interesting to me? Do I need to write 5 more on top of, let's just say you have 3 left, so now you have 8, and like take that with you upon months and just evaluate what is actually your sole purpose. That's just one way that I would feel like you can definitely take yourself and things that you're interested in and note them down on a piece of paper. That way they're out of your head, out of mind, and on site. And yeah, just reevaluate what your purpose is, and I'm sure you're gonna find it. Like, don't feel pressured or like beat yourself up over the like if you moving on to another learning process. Like, I changed my things on so many. Like, looking back, I've changed my mind on so many things. Like, back in Washington, I wanted to start a fitness challenge or fitness clothing because I started 75 hard, and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna start a fitness, because then I started like doing my TikTok videos for my fitnesses and stuff. And I thought that that's what something I really wanted to get into and really dive into. And so I was like, I'm going to start a fitness clothing that has to relate to, I named it kind of like how my podcast was, Unleashed. But yeah, anyway, so I want to start a fitness clothing. And then that never I started buying shirts and like I started like designing the print for it. And after 75 hard, I just like kind of like wasn't so intense about my fitness. And so then I was like, well, no, I have this like entrepreneur mindset. Maybe I want to open up a coffee shop, because I think a coffee shop would be so cool, like, and do panda theme, like bamboo forest. Like, you walk in, you're in like a peaceful forest, peaceful music, like, and I never really got into that. So then I was like, oh, okay, wedding venue, apartment syndication, storage, fix and flips, podcasting, sub 2, and wedding venue, if I've already said that. But I'm just like, I still have shiny object syndrome. Like, I still like think of like, oh, like, that's a good idea. Like, why can't I get into that? Like, and who's to say you can't do all this? But I'm just either lazy or just don't really figure out the depths of the blueprints for each one of these things. What I really found out is that I love podcasting and I love syndication for crowdfunding money for real estate. I think I'm really good at making the relationships with people and knowing who has the deals. And I'm just sticking to that for right now. And who knows what's going to up and come in the future. I wouldn't be here if I didn't leave some of my past learning behind. Who knows, like, if I started that fitness clothing, like, who knows where I would have been? Like, would I be in Texas right now? Because I wouldn't have done and pursued real estate at that moment. And who knows if I would have got the connections that I've had now. So when you go back to it, yeah, actually, even speaking upon that, like, we could always go back to, like, if I want to do a wedding venue, I'm going to go back to it. Like, I know I've put enough research into wedding venues that if I ever wanted to do one, I could go back to it and open up one. And so I think it's really important to know that it's okay to stop where you're learning, and you can always go back to it. That's okay. And if you don't, then you don't. But just take the pressure off yourself, because you never know where that next new spark will take you. And if people are asking about your last desires, just know it's normal to change and grow with the new spark. And I mean, you could probably think about anybody around that had, or you probably cannot think of one person that has only done one thing in their life, like for their entire life, without trying something else. Like, I can't think of anybody. So I feel like society has put so much pressure, maybe too much pressure on, oh, you have to pick one niche and you'll have to stick to that. If you like it, you'll start, like if you start doing powerlifting, then, oh, all of a sudden you're the powerlifter girl and you have to stick to that. And it is so hard. It was so hard when I was trying to figure out a podcast niche, whatever you want to say. And I'm like, what is it going to be about? Because I'm a woman of many, and like, I want to get wealthy, not just financially, but like in all areas of my life, like the whole 8 dimensions of wellness. And there's so much to unpack, like traveling, education, social, environmental, occupational, and just so many people's different stories that are going to come on, and that have already come on, and learning about them. I just knew that 8 dimensions, like, yes, it is very like out there and broad, but like when you narrow it down to like today, like intellectual, like we're focusing on becoming intellectual in your learning and how you are learning, in your environment, your identity in that learning. And I don't know, I think it's so cool because as I am a woman of many, I have now opened up my personality to this podcast, and it's not just on one thing. I'm not just one niche person. And I totally think that's okay. Okay, so I'm gonna find this verse, and it was like talking about like, so for some of my desires, I also think that, you know, my personal opinion and my relationship with God, that some of my desires were actually my own desires and not for God's desire. And I'm gonna bring up a scripture that kind of relates to that. I can find it here. But just being more intentional about God's will and what he wanted me to do, what he wants me to do for my life, and living for him and for his will, and to build his house of kingdom, and not like, this isn't mine. Like, I was blessed enough to be here, and he picked me. So of course I'm going to try to live my best life for him. And have I been perfect? No. But I'm going to keep on trying to be in his will and live for him. But, okay, so Psalms 127:1. It says, unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guards stand watch in vain. In your vain you rise early, and you stay up late, toiling for food to eat, for he grants sleep to those he loves. And I really like that because, yes, it's great to set goals, and yes, it's great to set dreams and do all these things that you have in your mind, in your heart. But what's really cool is that unless it's God's will and not your will, you would go so much further. You'll go so much further once you really pray about the desires, and that, is it led by the Lord, and is it God's will, and is he building the house, and you're helping with the labor of that, right? So, of course, the 8 dimensions of wellness, it's just so cool because they go hand in hand. And with intellectual wellness, I totally believe that spiritual wellness is the perfect partner for intellectual wellness. As I know this for myself, and looking at other people and the crisis and the mental health, it most likely means that somebody isn't aligned spiritually. Their creativity or cognitively, socially, emotionally, all that probably has an impact on their relationships and their self-worth. Being led by God's will is far greater than led by your own plans. So be willing to pivot and change course as you seek his will for your life. This could be more than just a hobby. It could be an intellectual, or it could be intellectually capable to seek other areas in your life, like a career, or for me, or like what am I trying to say? It could be a career, pursuing a dream. And I know that this one was the hardest for me, but also relationships. Like, if there's an area in your life that can always mislead you, it has misled me in so many relationships. It would be wise to really sit down and be intellectual about each relationship that you have in your life, and being able to let it go when deep down you know it's not right and it doesn't see God's plan. And I know this isn't easy. I know that this is probably one of the hardest things me personally do have to deal with. But if you hold on to your future loosely, you know that God has a bigger plan, and bigger something for you is out there, and it's okay, and it will be okay. And just trust in the Lord and God's plan. When you do let go, just surround yourself with good community and good intellectual environment. Viewing your life through the lens of God will make you more flexible, and your ability to gracefully move on from the plan to plan, and or hobby to hobby, relationships to singleness. It will leave you with more satisfaction and joy than having a rigid experience, depressing, fighting experience. And just that frustration and hurt that can come with being in a, not so God's will plan. And so, to wrap it up, I want to touch on the fact that Warren Buffett also says it's okay to say no. In fact, I know I get FOMO, which is fear of missing out, and I say yes more often than quickly realizing my body will react to the stress, because then I will feel behind in my work or behind in my podcast, like I have been in the last 2 weeks. So again, apologize for that. That is literally my FOMO, saying yes to everything and not being able to say no and settle down and buckle up and do my podcast stuff. So I apologize again for that. But yeah, and then I get behind, and then I freak out, and then I feel bad because I was like, what if somebody was listening and they were really excited for this, and blah 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 blah, or I didn't read, or so I'll take a break, and whatever that is, or I'll have bad sleep. Then my back hurts, and then I don't want to get up, and then I face another thing because I'm grumpy. Or some people actually it affects their bodies so much, they can lose hair or break out. Your body knows when you're being put through stress. And I just heard it from somebody. It was saying you create more anxiety when you know you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I was like, oh my gosh, those last 2 weeks, yeah, I've had a good time in what I was doing, and I was present, but then also not focusing on what I promised myself I was going to do. It brought me more anxiety, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my body knows. I literally can feel the stress and the anxiety, and my sleep, and I just want to sleep because I don't get enough sleep because I'm just thinking about everything that I'm not doing, that I'm supposed to be doing. And yeah, I'm doing little small staycations, and I'll be yeah, anyway, FOMO, it's a thing. And like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm still learning my structure and my intellectual learning. So, but yeah, anyway, then usually people will go and blame their top layer, like acne or their back pain or whatever, their black circles under their eyes, and then they'll go get eye patches, and we start buying all these products to help us, and they dip into their financial wellness, and because they're buying these products that they think that they're going to cover it up, and yeah, some of them do help, but they don't solve the problem. Anyway, so then they're dipping into their financial wellness and buying all these products when really they need to just like stop and give ourselves like 8 minutes in quiet time and really think about what's the underlying issue that is not just a Band-Aid fix, right? Your body knows that you're out of alignment, and which is awareness, which is intellectual wellness. So, yeah, being aware of your body and like knowing what your body's telling you is being aware, and being aware and having awareness is intellectual wellness. So, to wrap it up, I know that I feel like just blabbling. See, is that a word? I don't even know. We're going to make it up, and I don't even care. But I feel like I just been now just going on and talking, and I don't even know what to talk about anymore. So I'm just going to wrap it up with the points that we made today. So wrap it up. We have good environment. You're going to identify yourself and who you are. You're going to respect others and their learning, and listen to your body. Also, God's will, not your will. We can add that too. And to close out in our scripture, I just want to go to the scripture page and find this because it was in James. Yes, I'm a Bible flipper. I don't know where all my peoples are at, but while I'm doing this, let's please comment down below of what you're learning. Like, I just want to know what people are interested in. I'm so curious, actually, what these comments are going to be, because holy cow, where's James? Okay. I'm going to go through, 1886. Okay. Yeah, I'm so excited to see what you guys are all interested about and learning, and also tell me what environment you like to learn, because I like to learn not in coffee shop. Well, I like to do work in coffee shops, but if I'm like trying to learn something, I cannot be in a coffee shop. Like, I will be so distracted, and like if a puppy or if anything, a baby comes in, I am like, my attention is gone. So I do have to be in a quiet like an environment, like in my house, and like nothing around me if I'm like truly wanting to learn about like a specific thing. So there's that. Okay, so James, wow, we found you, buddy. Okay, so to wrap it up, I want to close in scripture of James 1:5, and it says, "If any of you lack wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." The wisdom of God will leave you so fulfilled and content, versus the world's wisdom. It will leave you with searching for more. And I like that scripture because if you lack any wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously without finding fault. It just like, we have it all in the tip of our fingers, our hands, our heart, our soul, like everything. It's just right there. It's right here. Like, God will be the one to guide you, and in your current stage of life and whatever you're going through, he will be there for you. Yeah, like God will be the one to guide you in your current stage of life and your next stage of life. Like, wherever you're pivoting or whatever you're learning, like, go ask God. Like, even if you don't believe in God, like, go on your knees and just like maybe just give him 8 seconds and be like, Lord, like, I hear about you. I don't know you, but can you please come into my heart and show me who you are and what you're about, and whatever that is. And that's a different topic. Maybe that will be on a spiritual. Like, we could talk about that on spiritual. But anyway, if you lack wisdom, you should go seek God, who gives it generously. But when you ask, I must add this, actually James 1:6. But when you ask, you must believe and no doubt, because the one who doubts, like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind, the person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. Man, I could go on and on about this. Like James 1, I never knew how important it was, like talking. Oh, I just lost my spot in my Bible. That's okay. Okay. Anyway, James 1, that was James 1 through 7, I think it was actually. Just so you know, James is at the end of the Bible, if you didn't know that. So when you're in church and your pastor's talking about James, just be intellectual and go to the end of the Bible. But that was James 1, 5 through 8, actually, that I just quoted. So if you want to go back to that scripture and read upon it and do your own understanding and be intellectual about it, go ahead and do that. So just wrap it up. I just want to say go be a blessing to your life and others and have a wonderful week. Peace.
Thank you so much, friends, for being part of this show, exploring life's depths wherever we go. Don't forget to like and subscribe because your support means the world to let our community grow. And remember, as we conclude today, let gratitude flow.